There's a headline making the rounds that a lot of people reacted to with one simple phrase: about time. A Texas judge just handed down an 18-year prison sentence to a woman convicted of her 10th DWI. Not her second, not her third, her 10th. And if your immediate reaction was relief instead of outrage, you're not alone. This case matters because it forces us to confront a question we've been avoiding for decades. How many chances does someone get before society says enough? Drunk driving isn't a paperwork violation. It's not a victimless crime. Every time someone with a long DWI history gets behind the wheel, they are rolling the dice with other people's lives. And in this case, the dice had already been rolled 9 times before. According to Texas court records and local reporting, the defendant, Catherine Sarah Welch, age 50, was convicted of her 10th DWI offense. Let that sink in. 10 arrests, 10 prosecutions, years of probation, reduced sentences, second chances, third chances, and beyond. This wasn't a one-night mistake. This was a pattern. The judge, Raquel West, made it clear that previous attempts at rehabilitation and leniency had failed repeatedly. So this time, the court chose something different: incapacitation. Here's the part that often gets glossed over in viral clips. This sentence didn't come out of nowhere. The defendant had multiple felony-level DWI convictions, a long history of probation violations, repeated interactions with the criminal justice system that resulted in lighter penalties, continued to drive despite knowing she had a serious substance problem, and a suspended or restricted license at various points. At some point, this stops being about addiction alone and becomes about willful disregard for public safety. And the justice system is not obligated to sacrifice innocent people on the altar of endless empathy. This is where the conservative perspective is often misunderstood. This isn't about being tough for the sake of being tough. It's about protecting people who follow the law. Every habitual offender removed from the road prevents future crashes, protects families, saves lives, reduces long-term costs to taxpayers and emergency services. Prison isn't always about punishment. Sometimes it's about containment. And when someone proves over and over again that they cannot coexist safely in society, the system has a responsibility to act, not after the first offense, not after the second, but certainly after the 10th. Critics will say this sentence is excessive. They'll say it's cruel. They'll say addiction should be treated, not punished. But here's the hard truth. Treatment was offered. Probation was offered. Mercy was offered. And every one of those chances was ignored. Compassion without accountability isn't compassion, it's negligence. This case isn't about vengeance. It's about finally drawing a line. If 10 DWIs isn't enough to say you're done, then nothing ever will be. Texas didn't suddenly become harsh. It simply stopped pretending that habitual offenders will magically change on their 11th chance. And for a lot of families who share the road every day, that's not cruelty. That's common sense.